Hello, it's 8 AM in the UK and it's time for my full card recap for UFC 263 Adesanya vs Vettori 2. I'm going to give my full card reaction and breakdown, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, breaking down every single fight on the card, and this was a very good card as well, by the way, and we're going to start with the early prelim opener of Carlos Felipe vs Jake Collier. Great scrap. Really fun. This one was actually fight of the night until the headliner of the prelims, which we'll get to in a second, because Dober versus Riddell was absolutely crazy. But Felipe versus Collier. Collier does well in the first round. Felipe bounces back in the second with some vicious body shots. And my word, the body shots of Carlos Felipe for a heavyweight to be ripping lead left hooks to the body the way that Felipe was. I mean, he was landing brutal body shots. I'm very surprised that Collier took them for the rounds that he did. But then again, he's got a natural layer of protection, I guess. So Carlos Felipe landed some great body shots. Round 3, he landed even more as well. Just a great performance by Carlos Felipe, slowly wearing on Jake Collier as the fight went on. But I'm telling you this, man, I actually credit Jake Collier because people look at him and see him as like a joke matchup. Collier is actually there to win, and he actually always does pretty good against opponents. I mean, he outlanded Carlos Felipe here. There's an argument maybe he can sneak that second round. I thought that Felipe landed all of the better shots and all of the big shots in the fight, but Jake Collier is always there to scrap. This makes Tom Aspinall look really good because Collier's had a pretty good performances his last 2, and Aspinall destroyed him in 1 round. But Felipe looked great, 11-1, always puts on fun fights. I always like seeing Felipe on the card. Great win from him. Moving on up the card, Ziam versus Luigi Vendramini. I thought this one should have been a draw. Somehow, Ziam got the decision here. Ziam also got gifted a decision against Jamie Malarkey not too long ago as well. So he is the king of controversial decisions right now. They clearly want him to do well in the UFC. But I thought Luigi Vendramini done enough in the 3rd round to get himself a 10-8. And I thought the first 2 rounds could have gone to Ziam. Pretty close rounds, but Ziam clearly edged him out with the bigger shots. Round 3, though, I thought Luigi Vendramini, although he did not put down Ziam, he did concuss him to the ground. He did not land a big shot and Ziam went down because of the big shot, but he would land a big shot and Ziam would like collapse into him or against the cage and go down, and Vendramini would land an extra couple of shots afterwards. It was kind of like the way that Chandler put down Oliveira in a sense, even though it wasn't officially a knockdown. He put him down with strikes, but a good job by Ziam to survive. He gets a decision win. It's not like it's a title fight, so I'm not going to get too amped up over the decision, but I feel like it should have been a draw. I saw a 10-8 round in the 3rd for Luigi Vendramini. Oh well, they went with Ziam. Moving on up the card, Chase Hooper versus Steven Peterson. Man, I thought Chase Hooper was going to win. Steven Peterson looked pretty good, man. He just is a bit stronger than Chase Hooper, in all honesty. And you know what I'm going to say? Fucking weight advantage, dude. You didn't cut the weight. You were very many pounds over. And in those scrambles where Hooper's got butterfly guard and he's usually able to sweep his opponents and he can't sweep you, it kind of comes down to the fact that you didn't drain an extra 3 pounds and you're 3 pounds heavier than Chase Hooper. And that can go a long way in an MMA fight. And Peterson won. I'm glad that Hooper got his basically got his win bonus because he got a percentage of Steven Peterson's purse for him missing weight. But at the same time, bad for Chase Hooper, man. It doesn't look good. You should be beating Steven Peterson's at this point in your career. Couple of good moments in the fight, though. Actually, Chase Hooper looked really good on the feet. And that sounds weird, although he did make some technical problems on the feet. He did make a lot of technical mistakes. But Steven Peterson is decent on the feet, has KOs in the UFC, has done good on the feet against other good fighters on the feet as well. And Chase Hooper went out there and was landing really great shots. Great combination. Just looked like he rocked Steven Peterson at one point in the fight. They gave it to Steven Peterson. Good job. He won the fight. He won the scrambles. He landed some good shots at the end of round 2 that I think secured him that round as well. And he just had a little bit more weight. And I'm sorry, but that kind of was what it was. Like, in the scrambles, he would end up on top. When Chase Hooper would get feet on hips, he barely wouldn't be able to push him off. When he would get a butterfly guard, he wouldn't be able to sweep him, just barely, in the butterfly guard. So Steven Peterson gets the job done. Good job. I think Chase Hooper needs to wait out on the sidelines, and I want to see in 6 months, Chase Hooper versus Yusuf Zalal. Loser goes home. Both guys need to buck their ideas up. Moving on up the card, Matt Frevola versus Terrance McKinney. Man, I picked Matt Frevola. Terrance McKinney flattened him out cold, but I will say this. I picked Terrance McKinney just before the fight started. I know people are going to call that absolutely disgraceful because that's not how the sport should be predicted. But I kind of said before the fight was going to start, Terrance McKinney's about to KO this guy in 1 round. And he went out there and did just that. If you want to count it for me, you can. If you don't, I don't really care. Terrance McKinney got the KO win. Great performance. One of the fastest KOs of all time, really, in the UFC. I think it was something like 7 seconds in the first round. Brutal straight shot, right on the jaw. Down goes Matt Frevola. Frevola kind of made a mistake. He hesitated on a leg kick, I think it was. Came in, and then just sort of stood there in the face of Terrance McKinney, and McKinney sort of reacted accordingly. There's a man in my face who isn't moving. Bang, straight on the jaw. Down goes Matt Frevola. Great win from Terrance McKinney. He then injures himself during his celebration to his knee. Fuck you, you stupid prick. Why can't you just win and get back in there in 2 weeks and keep this momentum going? The next weekend's card is not that good. Let's get you back on that one. But no, now we're going to have to wait 6 months for you to rehabilitate an ACL surgery, and you're probably never going to be the same afterwards. That's the problem with celebrating too hard. Injured his knee. Oh well. Good job by Terrance McKinney, though, to get a first round KO. He's had a rough story, so it was good for him to get a win and burst into the scene as another prospect to watch out for in the lightweight division. Moving on up the card. Pannie Kianzad versus Alexis Davis. Man, if you saw this for Alexis Davis, you're straight up dumb. Pannie Kianzad won the first 2 rounds. Third round was close. It can go to Kianzad as well, but maybe that one's a bit more of the Davis round. But I tell you this, man. I heard the commentary was terrible. I heard people saying that maybe Davis should have won. Ridiculous. There's no way Davis should have won that fight. Pannie Kianzad was landing all of the better shots. Davis was landing little pitter-patter shots, doing really nothing to Pannie Kianzad, and maybe she was outlanding her by a couple of strikes, but Kianzad outlanded Davis in the first round, even though the strike stats said completely otherwise. They were wrong all night long. Pannie Kianzad, very good first round. Second round, she got outlanded, but she landed all of the better shots again. Round 3, she even rocked Davis at the end of round 3. Great win from Pannie Kianzad. She gets the job done. Moving on up the card. Prelims. Movsar Evloev versus Hakeem Dawodu. I picked Hakeem Dawodu, and Movsar Evloev destroyed him. I know people are saying that Dawodu's light years ahead with the hands. I saw comments like that everywhere. Like, what are you watching? In the first round, Evloev was piecing up Dawodu on the feet. Like, even without the takedowns needed in that first round, Evloev was landing big right hands over the top of Dawodu's lazy jab and really exploiting Dawodu in that first round. Worked really hard to get the takedowns, eventually stuck Dawodu to the canvas and took the back control and just worked him from the backpack position the entire time with good shots. In fact, some of those good shots in round 2 from that back position, he started landing some pretty vicious, significant strikes from having the back of Dawodu, by Dawodu leaning over to the side and him just reaching over and landing big shots to the face. I mean, it was a good performance by Movsar Evloev, man. He got some 10-8 rounds. He could have even won the third, but Dawodu won the third, I reckon, on strikes overall because Evloev was kind of trying to survive. He also got rocked in the third round as well at one point, but that was more because he was tired of just completely ragdolling Dawodu in those first 2 rounds. Great performance by Movsar Evloev. We've got an undefeated ranked featherweight who's probably going to be ranked around 11 or 12 now, 15-0. I don't know what's next for him, but I'm really looking forward to it. He's a real problem in that featherweight division. If he can sort out a cardio issue a little bit, maybe it's different over 5 rounds as well, and he takes his time a little bit more, he's going to be a real problem in that featherweight division because he did not look like the guy who showed up against Lentz, and that guy did not look like the guy who showed up against Enrique Barzola. You've got a real improving guy. I didn't predict the improvement. I thought Dawodu would get an upset, but Evloev really has improved, and hats off to him, man. Great performance. Moving on up the card. Lauren Murphy versus Joanne Calderwood. Worst female robbery of all time? How in any way do they give Lauren Murphy round 1 or round 3 against Joanne Calderwood? There is zero chance of it happening. I have no idea how they managed to score that fight for Lauren Murphy. I thought maybe there is a chance at a draw. Maybe, with Calderwood 1-3 and Murphy winning round 2 10-8, but like a women's 10-8, which is a bit of a less 10-8 round, but because it's female MMA, they don't ever come, so 10-8 rounds have to be given at some point in women's MMA, so I thought they would maybe give a 10-8 round to Lauren Murphy, but the fact that she won this fight just smells rigged win. There's zero way of giving her 1 or 3. There is no argument. Like, not even like, if you blinked through 10 shots, there's still another 10 of the advantage of Calderwood that you wouldn't have blinked through. Like, there's zero way you can score that to Lauren Murphy. She's had 3 robberies in her career so far, And what do you know? If Calderwood won, it would be hard to justify her getting a title shot against Shevchenko. If Murphy wins, she's a fresh face opponent who's going to be ranked number 2, who's probably going to get a matchup with Valentina Shevchenko next. Absolute rigging from the UFC. I picked Calderwood. She clearly won. I'm taking it as a victory. I don't give a fuck, really. I'm taking it as a victory. Murphy basically did nothing. The knees from Calderwood in the clinch were good. The elbows in the clinch from Calderwood were good. The shots at range from Calderwood were great. Good kicks, good front kicks, good leg kicks. Murphy had some decent 2s every now and again, but had no idea what to do with her hands. In round 2, she got a takedown at one point out of nowhere and ended up landing some good shots for the rest of that round. But other than that, she couldn't really take down Calderwood. There's zero chance she wins rounds 1 or 3. She had no idea what she's doing with her hands. She's going to get destroyed by Valentina Shevchenko. And I don't even care about that whole fucking division anymore. Completely rigged so that Valentina Shevchenko can get a nice little opponent for October or November. And they can keep the division moving. Absolute shambles. Moving on up the card. Eryk Anders versus Darren Stewart. Man, this was lame in those first 2 rounds, huh? Eryk Anders, Darren Stewart. I thought I gave Darren Stewart the first round. Eryk Anders the second round. All came down to who won the third. And Eryk Anders had more in the tank and ended up winning the third quite dominantly. And could have got a 10-8 round in the third as well with the amount of ground and pound he was landing. Great job by Eryk Anders. Grinded out Darren Stewart. I thought he was going to win. I thought he would win by finish. But man, Darren Stewart, it's a tough fight, man. It's just, they were just clinching the whole time. I think that's kind of what happens. When 2 guys have a massive firefight in the first round, like they did last time, where they're both swinging back and forth and they know they can KO each other. After that, it becomes a little bit more like, okay, let's just clinch up a bit. Let's not risk this big KO frenzy again like last time. Anders ended up winning. Good win from him. Not really going to go on to become a champ, so it's kind of like a nothing win. But Anders wins, and he can move on and take on another prospect in the light heavyweight division and keep his job. Darren Stewart maybe gets one more chance. I'm not too sure. But hey, Anders did better than Kevin Holland, so good job, Eryk Anders. Good win. Moving on up the card, Drew Dober versus Brad Riddell. I picked Brad Riddell to win. I thought he would win as the fight went on, and I thought he would win by mixing up shots to the body and legs. That's exactly what he did against Drew Dober, man. Great first round. I thought Brad Riddell might have been out of it in that first round, but he showed, as a kickboxer, if things go a little bit south on the feet, as they did against Drew Dober in that first round, it's the middle of the summer, it's 8 AM in the UK, I'm sweating my ass off, I haven't slept. But he showed, while being rocked by Dober in that first round, that as a kickboxer, he can have the option to now say, I'm going to try and grapple this because it's not working out on the feet too well. I'm going to switch this up. I'm going to try and get it to the ground. And he showed he has that option. And that's a huge thing to see in Brad Riddell and I've destroyed my microphone. God, it's not my day. And that's a huge thing to see from Brad Riddell as a young contender who's still got an opportunity to go on and become a champion, to see that he has the option to change things up, and even the fight like you while being rocked to switch things up as well, made it all the worthwhile, landed some good body shots throughout the fight. Man, Drew Dober has a chin because in that third round, Riddell landed a bomb on him that would have put out anyone else in that lightweight division, I feel like. But Dober just took it, man. And Riddell just showed he's got good cardio, mixes it up well to the body, landed great body shots throughout the entire fight, great body kicks as well. Dober did great as well, but it's just a close fight. Riddell edged the second round. Riddell dominated the third. Dober won the first. Pretty simple to score. 29-28 Riddell. Great win. Really good performance. I'm sure that pumped up Izzy backstage as well, seeing Riddell get a win, and it was a great performance, man. A great scrap. Got fight of the night. Riddell always has amazing performances. I'll be watching him from now on. Great new win and a great new prospect at lightweight. Moving on to the main card. Paul Craig versus Jamahal Hill. I picked Jamahal Hill to go out there and starch Paul Craig in the first round. Little did I know that Paul Craig might have the nastiest jiu-jitsu at light heavyweight. That's not a joke anymore, okay? He is really good now. He's made some real changes in his game. I did not see that happening at his ripe old age of 32, I believe it is. Jamahal Hill was the younger guy, great hands. I thought he was maybe going to go out there and land some good hands on Paul Craig, but Craig doesn't even need a takedown. That's how good his jiu-jitsu is. I know I'm talking, and maybe I shouldn't refer him to Maia, but Maia needs a takedown. Paul Craig will pull guard, trap you in with him with an arm, and just do whatever he wants with that arm. He'll stick to you on the ground, and even if Jamahal Hill wants to disengage and get back up, he has no choice. You're stuck on the ground with Paul Craig, and he's going to put you in something. I want to see an Ankalaev versus Paul Craig rematch to try and fix Ankalaev's legacy, and also see if Paul Craig might be able to submit him again. Man, Paul Craig's got nasty jiu-jitsu. The referee, the arm snapped, But Jamahal Hill didn't really tap, though, did he? He was doing this weird stuff with his hand, but he wasn't clearly tapping. So I understand the referee's option. I understand that the arm was broken, and maybe the fight should have been stopped just because the arm was broken. But I kind of get letting it go on, because, again, if Jamahal Hill gets out of that and then rains down a hammer fist and finishes Paul Craig, all of a sudden everyone's talking about an early stoppage. He was just getting out of the triangle and looking to land a shot. Like, I understand the referee maybe should have stepped in once he saw the arm break. We didn't really know how bad the arm break was. Sometimes you see an arm get hyperextended and it's not broken, like Tony Ferguson against Charles Oliveira. That could have been stopped there, arguably, but no, you let that kind of stuff go on. I didn't mind the stoppage, but it stopped eventually, of course. Paul Craig gets it done, got booed on the way out. Braveheart himself gets it done. I like Paul Craig, man. He's got good jiu-jitsu. I think he can be a real threat in the light heavyweight division. He's fixed his stand-up. Doesn't get crazy on the feet, doesn't leave himself open either. He actually landed a bunch of good front kicks to the body on Jamahal Hill. And yeah, great submission with an armbar. Really good win from Paul Craig. Thank you. And moving on to something else on the card, which was Demian Maia versus Belal Muhammad. I went with Belal Muhammad by 29-28 unanimous decision. He ended up winning 30-27, I believe it was. Great performance by Belal. People do not like that performance. It was one of the best performances on the card, in my opinion. There was other great performances, don't get me wrong, but this one, I was really surprised that Belal was able to stuff literally every single takedown of Demian Maia. One judge gave him 30-27, two gave 29-28. I guess that's the first round for Demian Maia. But Belal Muhammad, man, it's hard to keep Maia off of you, and I rate him for being able to do it. I know a lot of people don't like Belal Muhammad and think I don't like Belal Muhammad. I don't like the way he whines about Leon Edwards eye-poking him when he tried to eye-poke Leon Edwards in the first round of their fight. But either way, he had great takedown defense, great balance on one leg, put the foot between the legs of Demian Maia, fought for the underhooks, landed total strikes in the clinch, landed strikes at range as well, and stuffed Maia only got 1 of 21, and even that was barely anything, you know? 20 takedowns of Demian Maia is what Belal Muhammad just stuffed. Great performance. Good to see him stuff takedowns as well before he goes up against maybe an Usman. If he does continue up the division, it's always good to see someone take on the style that the champion is, of a grappler who might try and want to take you down, but Usman's now a bit more of a striker as well, of course. But yeah, Belal Muhammad, amazing performance. Great takedown defense. I know it wasn't the most entertaining in the world, but he got rid of Maia, which is tough to do. It's hard to pass that guy in the welterweight division. And yeah, he made it happen. So now Belal's a top 10 contender, looking for big names. Great performance. Really good performance by Belal Muhammad. I didn't think he was going to win it like that. I thought maybe he'd have some trouble, but no. Really good awareness and really good takedown defense from Belal Muhammad. I'll for sure remember the name from now on. Moving on up the card, Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz. I've made a full fight reaction to this. Absolutely crazy. Leon Edwards landing great leg kicks early. I thought he was just going to toy with Nate Diaz the entire fight, but Nate Diaz made it competitive in those early rounds. But Edwards was just landing too many good shots. And Edwards fights in a way where he just kind of says, I'm ahead. I don't need to do more than what I'm doing because I'm ahead. You do something to me, I'll do it back to stay ahead. He's not one of these guys where he's doubling you on strikes and he wants to triple you on strikes. He's not going to do that and waste energy that way. He's a very efficient fighter. Leon Edwards, great performance, but again, that 5th round, not too good. Nate Diaz starts talking to him a bit. Leon Edwards puts his hands down. Bap, bap, straight on the chin of Leon Edwards. Man, I wish Nate Diaz would have rushed that finish a little bit quicker, because he stood there and watched Leon Edwards for a little bit, and if there was one more shot landed by Diaz, Edwards could have been down and out for good. Very lucky Leon Edwards for surviving. He's not going to get a title shot. I think that 5th round, as Gilbert Burns said, has just given Colby Covington a title shot against Usman, because you can't really sell that with Edwards Usman 2 after he just got nearly finished by Nate Diaz in the 5th, who was, I know people like Nate Diaz, but he was supposed to be a sacrificial lamb here. You know what I'm saying? Edwards nearly got finished. Other than that, good performance in the early rounds. Scored Nate Diaz in the first 3. Close rounds though, but Edwards just kept getting the better of him. Good leg kicks, good shots on the feet as well. But man, Edwards should have capitalized a little bit more in my opinion. But man, Nate Diaz showed up tough and showed up ready to win. Just didn't do it quick enough, I guess. Moving on up the card, Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. Now, I believe that it was a great win by Brandon Moreno, don't get me wrong. Really good win by Brandon Moreno. But man, Figueiredo showed up looking like absolute fucking dog shit, man. And he had food poisoning last time. And I thought this time, without food poisoning, he would be better. But no, actually, we need to give Figueiredo more food poisoning. Because Moreno just easily beat him. Easily beat him. Round 2, I guess, could go to Figueiredo just because he had top control, but that was all he kind of did from that position. Like, really didn't do anything else against Brandon Moreno. Then in the 3rd round, gives up a scramble, just gets his back taken. Like, that didn't happen at any point in the first fight. He was always aware of that happening in the first fight, but this time, just gives up his back so many times in the fight. Barely escaped one of the positions in one of the earlier rounds. In the 3rd round, Moreno made the adjustments, took the back, put the hooks in, got the rear naked choke, put out Deiveson Figueiredo. Good for Brandon Moreno, man. I was just so caught up on the fact that Figueiredo looked like he was already lost in the 1st round. I could sense a Moreno win. As soon as the 1st minute happened, I can sense a Moreno win. And what do you know? He gets dropped by a jab. And it wasn't even a jab. I know people say it's the shots you don't see coming. But Figueiredo, arguably maybe the best chin at flyweight. I guess that can now go to Brandon Moreno, but still. Arguably the best chin at flyweight, Deiveson Figueiredo, at that time before the jab happened. Moreno is not even jabbing with power. He's setting up his right hand. Flick. Oh, you're down? Oh, okay. It was weird to me. Good performance by Moreno. Maybe it was just the jab that just so happened to drop him and then his performance afterwards was terrible. But I just felt like Figueiredo didn't want to be in there, man. And I know people are going to shit on me for saying Moreno, oh, you're taking away from Moreno's win. I like Moreno. Everyone likes Moreno. But, like, man, what a shit performance by Figueiredo. Looked like he kind of wanted to lose, in all honesty. Like, and he was cheering on the fucking cage afterwards. He was up on the cage. Yeah, you lost. Why are you so happy? Did you get paid $1 million to lose? I don't know. I'm just saying. It's suspect to me. That's all. It's also 8 a.m. UK time. So my mind might not be the best to discuss this information. Either way, Moreno gets the job done. Good for him. He's going to be a superstar. I mean, he had 300k followers before his fight with Deiveson Figueiredo. He now has... Give me a second, please. He now has 427,000. He's gained 127,000 followers in such a short period of time. He's definitely going to be a star in that division. Him versus Askarov next. Figueiredo versus Garbrandt. Great win by Moreno, though. He can't decide what version of Figueiredo shows up. But whatever, man. Bring back food poisoning Figueiredo. Food poison that bitch. He'll win it back. Anyway, good performance by Moreno. Gets it done. Moving on up the card. Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori. Main event, already made a breakdown for this one as well. Israel Adesanya did what Israel Adesanya does, man. That's just how it is. Just sat on the outside at range with his 6-inch reach advantage and just leg kicked people. So that's what Israel Adesanya does. Like, if you're not going to lunge in at him and make him exchange with those hooks, which Marvin Vettori typically didn't do, then he's just going to sit at range and leg kick you, dude. You've got to do something to stop him being able to do that, or he's just going to do that because he has a 6-inch reach advantage over all of his opponents. And he's 6'4" at middleweight, and he's just too rangy for these guys. If you can't get him down, it's problems. If you're on the feet with him, you're outranged. He's 6'4". He's got long legs. He's going to chop at your legs from range. You got to figure out that. And Marvin Vettori couldn't figure that out. Couldn't check the leg kicks enough like Jan Blachowicz could, if you'll remember. That's what Jan Blachowicz did very well, checking those leg kicks. Marvin Vettori couldn't do it, man. Too fast at middleweight. Israel Adesanya a little bit faster than he was at light heavyweight. But, man, Vettori did good, man. I'm seeing comments like, lol, as expected, domination. Shut the fuck up, pussies. I'm sick of Adesanya fans, man. They're the new absolute cancer of this fucking sport. Pisses me the fuck off. The stupid little anime weebs. Fuck those cucklords, man. Honestly. Israel Adesanya had trouble against Vettori. I know he tried to mock it, man. Vettori did okay. Got a takedown in the first round. Could have maybe edged the first round. Who knows? Adesanya wins the first round. Round 3 was pretty close in my opinion. The stats say otherwise, but I thought round 3 was pretty close. Anyway, it goes to Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya did good, but it was a competitive fight, no? It wasn't like he dealt with Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa was light work. Nothing for Israel Adesanya. Vettori went 5 hard rounds, kept it competitive, kept up on strikes in certain rounds, got takedowns, got positional control, nearly rear naked choked Izzy in the 3rd. Like, this illusion that Izzy dominated him is not true. Izzy leg kicked him from range and did it more than he did anything else. and because of that, he won on strikes. He barely landed any head kicks. They were all blocked. Landed some good body kicks on Marvin Vettori. Those were very good, and they worked in terms of slowing down Marvin Vettori. But it was a competitive fight, no? Even if you're an Israel Adesanya fan, an absolute weeb 12-year-old cuck, even if you're one of those, you can still admit that was a good fight. Like a competitive bout. Vettori showed some things that he can do. Israel Adesanya is just too rangy, leg kicks at range. And also, credit to Vettori, man. I'm going to take that stance because no one else is going to. Everyone's going to rib job at everyone's going to rim job Adesanya. So I'm going to take the stance of, hey, Vettori, you showed up in the first title fight of your life. Went out there, 27 years of age, no kickboxing experience, stayed reasonably competitive with Adesanya on the feet, didn't get KO'd or exposed on the feet in any way, and went out there and had a decent fight. Lost the rounds, don't get me wrong, lost, but kept the rounds competitive. Kept the hesitation of, oh, what if this happens in some of those rounds. It wasn't like the Paulo Costa fight. He had a good performance, and also he fought through an eye poke and a groin shot, which now will never get mentioned ever again. He got a double eye poke, both eyes from Israel Adesanya and a groin shot. And he fought through it, man. And he never... Think about the things that have happened. Aljo. You know? Vettori could have sat down and took that belt. He could have. He really could have done that. I know that sounds crazy, but that genuinely is a thing that can happen nowadays. Credit to both guys. Adesanya did his thing at range. I gave Adesanya the props in the video I made fully. But I just wanted to express that Vettori, you did good, man. You're 27. You're a young meathead. And you actually did okay against this phenom kickboxer on the feet. So, he's got good potential. If he comes back at 29 and Adesanya's 33, I'm interested. You know what I'm saying? But Vettori's got to go back to the drawing board, whoop up 3 more contenders, and do a bit of a Whittaker to get his shot back. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.